Traditionally, I've only covered cars on this channel, but I purchased a toy so cool, I had to make an episode about it. So on this episode, Eat, Sleep, Drive, I'm gonna show you guys what this bicycle, e-bike, moped, motorcycle thing is and why it's so fun. It's a little bumpy on this thing. 26, 27. Welcome everyone to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, and we're going down a strange path with this one, but trust me, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a fun one. First two-wheeled vehicle I've ever reviewed on the channel, but I purchased this thing recently. This is a Juiced Scrambler. Juiced is a company that makes e-bikes, so electric bicycles. And this one specifically is kind of their Scrambler, which is like more of like a cruiser type thing. You could see it's got these fat tires, and as you'll see, it's not really made to be pedaled all that much. This one specifically is more about like just using a throttle. This thing actually has a throttle, just like a motorcycle, and you can just literally tool around with just a throttle alone and never even pedal it. So the pedals are there to make it look like you're on a bike, and then you can do whatever you want. But what makes this one kind of interesting is this little control module right here. This one has an aftermarket one, so you could say that the ECU's been tuned for more juice. These things have a governor on them because of regulations and such that they can only go 20 miles an hour. But that will unlock it so this thing can go 28 miles an hour on throttle alone, meaning I don't pedal and I just crank the throttle. So we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna show you guys around this thing first, give you a brief tour, and then we're gonna take it for a spin, and I'm gonna show you guys how fun it is to ride. Well, here is the Juiced Scrambler up close. And of course, what separates this from any old bicycle is gonna be this battery and motor back here. The battery is a 52 volt 13 amp hour battery. They have an optional, I think, 19 amp hour battery, which will of course get you more range. This one, they claim around 45 miles of range, but that really depends on how much you're pedaling or not pedaling, and mostly in my case. And then back here you have the 750 watt hub motor. Some electric bikes have the motor right on the crank, but this one is on the hub. It has hydraulic disc brakes, which are actually pretty good in my opinion. And then of course these big knobby tires, which definitely help aid in being a little bit of a suspension type thing. Of course you have the front suspension, but no rear suspension, but the amount of tire definitely helps with that. Here's what really differentiates this thing from everything else is the throttle over here. That's just like, you see the bike trying to move when I twist the throttle? That throttle is just like any other throttle from a motorcycle or moped or whatever. You don't even have to pedal, you just crank this throttle and this thing scoots along. Here's an LCD kind of showing you your speed, how much battery life you have left, how many watts you're using, the odometer. And then I'll get more into these when we go for a drive, but there are different settings on this thing. Eco, which is just basically a little bit of pedal assist, very economy on the battery, gives you the longest battery life. And then pedal assist 1 through 3, 3 being the most pedal assist. Then you have a sport and a race mode, which we will for sure go into on the drive because race mode sounds amazing, but I'll get more into that. Oh, and of course it has 7 speeds here that you can shift through to kind of get this thing going. So it's in very many ways a bicycle, but it's also in many ways like this electric motorcycle thing. And I think you guys are gonna see that when we take this thing for a spin, which we're about to do right now. Alrighty, let's take off in our Juiced Scrambler. You just turn on this LCD by holding the top button. I'm in race mode. It defaults to the last mode that you were in, I guess. There is a button to turn the battery on first that you have to do. And I'm really not even gonna pedal, I don't think, during this. I just wanna show you guys how cool this is. So, twist the throttle. As you can see, not pedaling, and we're zooming. I'm in race mode. Why did I start off in race mode? This is ridiculous. Can you see the speed? We're at 24 right now and climbing. See what we get up to. It's a little bumpy on this thing. 26, 27. All right, I'm gonna slow down a little bit because this path is like super broken and kind of annoying, to be honest. So I'm gonna go down to just go down to 1. You could still use the throttle in the lower tiered settings, but it will limit you to only 20 miles an hour on the throttle, which is honestly a nice speed. Not that it gets sketchy above 20 miles an hour. It's just like I would really only do it on the road, kind of over here, or any road, because it's a little smoother. Like I said, this bike path is actually super broken, so it gets a little dicey, especially over 25. But as you could hopefully tell in the video, it's actually super fast, and I'm kind of bypassing like the main bike path here. We'll go on it for a little bit, but I'll just to show you guys how ridiculous even 20 miles an hour, which is the standard without the ECU tune and stuff, that's as fast as you can go. They have different ratings for electric bicycles. They have 1 through 3 classes, and there's some, you can look it up. One of them is just like pedal assist only, which is what I was talking about earlier, where when you pedal it will make you go a little bit faster. No right away here, okay. It will make you go a little faster, so there's that. And then there's, you know, I think this is a class 3 because it just has a throttle and you can just throttle down and go ahead and zoom. Once again, I've used throttle only, haven't pedaled at all on this thing. So yeah, you have the different classes, and then mine of course is modified because I can't leave well enough alone, and I have that aftermarket little ECU that I showed you guys, and it is for off-road use only, or so they say. I mean, the company sells it, which is hilarious to me, and they tell you that you can only use this when you're not driving it on the road or on bike paths or anything like that, which I think is just hilarious because, of course, that's what everyone's going to do. I'm just pegged at 20 miles an hour here. It's just so fun, man. Like, it's so fun. It feels like an electric motorcycle to me. I've had a couple motorcycles, regular gas engine motorcycles, and obviously this isn't as fast as they are. When you're just around town, and that's what I use this for, just to commute back and forth to work. I only have like a 3-mile commute, and you know, it kind of seems silly to get in a car, and I would traditionally bike like with a regular bike, and that's what I was doing. But unfortunately, where I live and where my job is, let's scoot through here, where my job is several hundred feet above, even though it's only a couple miles, it's several hundred feet above where I live, and so I can bike there, and it's a good workout and stuff, but I'm sweating by the time I get to work, and I think that's not cool to like sit there in your own filth, and there's no place to like shower while I'm there. So like something like this is perfect because I can pedal if I want to, but it gives me the assist on the hills, so I'm not sweating by the time I get to work, and it's just perfect for anyone who lives in the city. So would highly recommend. I'm gonna pop on. We'll talk about the suspension here in a second as I get jarred around. Back to race mode, because that's what we are all about. Boom, race mode. Now we can go fast. So effortless. Oh, I'm working so hard twisting this throttle. This thing is so fun. Okay, so the suspension. As you can see, it has a front suspension. I showed you the front suspension fork, but what it does not have is a rear suspension. And it's a little bit of a bummer. I mean, this thing is like $1,600 new, I think, and I bought it used. If I could pay another like $100 or $200 just to get a rear suspension, I would, because, you know, especially when you get the speeds like this, I'm doing 27. The road's not too bad, but when you're on like broken pavement and stuff, it's actually pretty jarring, even with these big tires. So that's really one of the only complaints I have about it, is that it is a little bit of a rough ride. I will say, though, that this seat is significantly more comfortable than any bike seat I've ever ridden, probably because it's like more like a motorcycle seat than it is a bike seat. This suspension, once again, is a little bit stiff or rigid because it is a fixed suspension, but the seat does help with that kind of stuff. and it's overall pretty comfy. The brakes are really good. Like I said, hydraulic disc, and they stop this thing down real quick. You could for sure lock them up if you wanted to. The front suspension has some adjustments, but I messed with them and they don't do a single thing. But I mean, like, that's pretty much it. You could shift here. Let's do a top speed run, actually, when this light turns green. This is a relatively flat road. I want to see how fast I can go if I pedal as much as humanly possible and use race mode. If this light ever goes green, here we go. I'm going to start off in a little bit of a lower gear to get going, because in race mode, it really kicks in super fast. But let's see what she do. Top speed run. Oh my God, this is sketchy. I'm pedaling my heart out. 20. I can't get it to go faster than I just otherwise would on throttle, really. So on throttle, I'm just switch to throttle only. I'm doing about 26 on this road. I got just under 28, pedaling my ass off. But what a fun little thing. Guys, I would definitely recommend, if you have the means, if you live in a city, to get an e-bike. It's just a fun means of transportation. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been fun to do something different, and I hope you guys are staying safe during these COVID times. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.